Hi everyone. The download for 2024 was edited and it's up on my YouTube channel for anyone that wants to have a look and recap on what the download came through for 2024, which was all about really focused on ourselves, basically. So we're going to focus today on the download that came through on 2024. So 2024 is going to be about getting present with you. So getting 100% present with you. And the real power is going to come from presence. Presence is going to equal potency and power in 2024. So 2023 for a lot of us was all about going through the eye of the needle. So the 4D, so having everything come up, having a look at everything and realizing that everything is working for our soul. Everything is working for our evolution, that everybody in our lives, everyone we've come across is showing us facets of the parts of us that haven't healed yet. So 2023 was a gift, and it was a gift in the sense of we were really made uncomfortable, a lot of us, to look at things perhaps that we hadn't taken time to look at before. So 2024 is all really about getting present. When you get present with the now, the past no longer matters, and we're not projecting the past onto the future. We are actually creating from the present moment, and that's why it's going to be such a powerful year for many people who did the eye of the needle work last year. So when we come into a place of acceptance, as per Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, courage is the leveler. And then when we come into a place of acceptance at 350 hertz, we actually come to that place of realization that everything is working together for us, for our good, for our evolution, for our development. And so that everybody is a gift in our lives. Those who love us unconditionally are a gift because they shine the light on us being unconditional towards others and towards ourselves. And then those that trigger us were a gift also for us to look at those parts of ourselves that are suppressed, that are in the unconscious. So Carl Jung talks about the shadow. Now, I studied Carl Jung back in '88 when I did my psych nursing. I didn't have the level of awareness and consciousness then that I have now. So I'm looking at his information in a totally different light now. However, it was a study in psychiatry and psychology back then for me, so I had a good foundation. So Carl Jung basically says that the collective unconsciousness is reflected to us. So everything, all the chaos I talked about in the last live that's going to get louder. Remember, the theme for 2024 is everything's going to get louder. So the chaos, the external world is going to get louder. The internal world will get louder as well. So everything will mirror. So what we are called to do is tune out the chaos of the outside and really hone into and connect with the inside. So that's going to be very potent to get present. And there is no better way to get present than meditation. And so it's a tool for presence is meditation. And remember, we run our groups here on a Thursday for meditation. We've seen powerful, powerful healing when people get present with themselves. So getting present is about tuning out all of the ego and the chatter of the mind to get present and to be sitting in the heart, to be sitting with your soul, to allow your soul to actually show you those areas that still require healing. And the areas that still require healing are often actually mirrored to us in the collective unconscious or in the triggers that we feel when we're around others. So everything is a reflection, everything is a mirror. Once we get to that level on the scale of consciousness where we get to acceptance at 350 hertz, we actually get to that place where we see everything as a gift, that nothing actually has the the highs and the lows that we used to have when we were sitting in our ego, when we were blaming and shaming others, when we were judging ourselves and judging others. So the place of acceptance starts to actually break down all of that judgment. It starts to break down the illusion of separation, which I talked about in the last live of 2024. The rise of the light worker. So let's just revisit that for anyone that wasn't here for that live. The rise of the light worker. Now, we all see light workers, not necessarily hands-on therapists like myself or people that work in the psychic and the intuitive who facilitate that space for healing. You see a light worker in retail. They're the person that smiles at you. They're the person that brightens your day. They're the person that when they serve you, they have eye contact with you. They're 100% present. You can see that they love what they're doing. You can see that they're there to serve you. The light worker is the carer in aged care who puts their heart and their soul into looking after and advocating for the elderly. The policeman who is actually thinking he's doing a good job, isn't coming across aggressively, and is actually there to help you. Very few and far between these days. Most of them are revenue raisers, we know that. That's just my point of view. You know, they're everywhere. So it could be the janitor that's cleaning the school that puts their heart and soul into thinking, I want this place 100% clean for these beautiful children that are going to come in here tomorrow. So there are light workers all around us. Light workers function from the heart. They put everything into what they're doing. So we are going to see a rise in that heart energy. We're going to see a rise in people just putting in everything, because they are the space holders for the higher frequencies. The fact that they put their heart and their soul into whatever they do, you know, the banker that bends over backwards to help you with your loan or with your credit card or with your car loan or opening your accounts, you know, and they're 100% present when you're at their counter, and they're 100% talking to you, present with you, wishing you a good day. Light workers are everywhere, and once we start to see that and acknowledge that, I always make sure I acknowledge those people and thank them for their service, because that plants a seed within them to continue, encourages them to continue. So the light worker is a person who puts their all into whatever they do, whatever walk of life they're in. And so we're going to see a rise in that energy in 2024, because they are, as I said, the placeholders for the higher frequencies on this planet. And they've been holding this space for a long time and not been recognized. So if you happen to come across a light worker who's just giving you everything from their heart, wherever you may be, whether it's in the shopping center, whether it's, you know, shopping for a dress or clothes or shoes, or paying your bill at council, or whatever it is, you know, a telecall or something like that, just, you know, I just encourage you to thank them for their service, because that will plant the seed for them to continue holding that frequency, the higher frequency of giving everything from the heart, of being present with everyone they're around. So I just wanted to really pull that apart, because I didn't explain it, I realized, in the last live, and I wanted to really facilitate the explanation of that. So they're not just hands-on healing therapists. As I said, Carl Jung talked about the shadow, or the collective unconscious. So that's going to rise in 2024. We're going to see a lot of chaos. I see some people hopping on there. Can you give me a thumbs up? Is the sound okay? Am I in okay? Hopefully you can hear me. Yes, so we're going to see a rise of the unconscious, right? We're also going to see a rise of this light worker energy, the very conscious people who are here and who are present, who have come to give their gift and hold those higher frequencies for us, so the planet can ascend, so we can ascend, so we can be carried in that frequency, and so we can be encouraged to function from our hearts also. So, as I said, the best way to get present, and presence is going to be the new potency and the power. No longer can we stay in our minds, no longer can we allow the ego to run us through our thoughts, our feelings and our emotions. That's going to get very uncomfortable for people who weren't able to transcend that in 2023. That's going to get louder and louder and louder. But the consciousness will raise as well. So you'll be shown through your soul when you're not present, when your ego is running the show, because it wants to, right? It wants to, but it knows the soul's in control. So there's this constant battle. So it's up to us to actually, and meditation is a great tool for getting present. Meditation is a great tool for actually anchoring into your soul's purpose and your soul's calling. It also helps with the frequency of joy, of love, those higher frequencies. So if you don't know how to meditate, or if you are having difficulty meditating, I encourage you to come to our groups. I've moved the time from 12:30 to 2 p.m. for all the school mums, so they've got time to pick up their kids. So look out for that in the events. I advertised it this morning on my page. Yes, so 2023 was the year to do the shadow work. If you're still in the shadow and you're still doing that work, remember the shadow is just a reflection of all those facets of us that haven't healed yet. So the gift in triggers, the gift in us getting agitated by other people, they're the gift. That's how much they love us. They've come to agitate us, for us to sit and look in the mirror and see those parts of us that aren't healed yet. 23 was the big year to do that. So I talked about 4D being like the eye of the needle. So the eye of the needle, 4D, is when everything gets squeezed and compressed, and basically the fractalization gets more severe. So you have to look at everything, and you literally feel, if anyone's ever sewn, you literally have to have the thread when you're threading a needle so perfect. Sometimes you have to lick the end of it. I'm showing my age because I used to actually hand sew. You have to lick the end of it to get the thread through the eye of the needle. That's how fine it is. So 23 was a lot about that, about being passed through the eye of the needle. And 24, if you didn't do that work and look at these facets of yourself, the shadow, the fear, the anguish, the doubt, the shame, the guilt, your 24 is going to be heavy for you, because the frequencies of the Schumann resonance, of the photons, I had a diagram last week, the photon energy coming into the planet is going to amplify everything. And so we want to get present with ourselves. That's going to be the power and the potency of 2024. The potency of now, of being here now, of being with you now, of listening to yourself, not with judgment, not with condemnation in any way, of just being present and just listening to that ego and the thoughts it's feeding you, the feelings it's feeding you, the emotions it's feeding you, so that you can get present with it, and so you can find out where it comes from. Generally, it's a pattern, it's a program, it's an old hurt, it's something that hasn't healed yet, and that's the gift of it. So if you're willing to look at the gift of everything and get present with yourself now, that's going to be a very potent energy. It's going to be a very powerful energy for you in 2024 to actually create. Because if we create from the present moment, we actually create our future. When we create from the past and past hurts, that's happened to me before, so I don't want it in the future. You see, there's a diluted energy in that way of thinking. There's a very diluted, and we're going to create more of the past in the future. Whereas if we're here in a level of acceptance that everything has happened for a divine purpose, everything has happened for a divine reason, everything has happened to grow our soul to the point of no judgment, no separation, to come into community, to come into unity, to come into love. Hey Kathy, hey Mariska, how are you? Thank you for saying hello. So yeah, so getting present is going to be really potent and very powerful. And as I said, meditation is a great tool to get present. And remember, we're running our groups 12:30 to 2 p.m. on a Thursday. We're also doing breath work. That's another way to heal in a powerful way. So these modalities, they're all available to us. And I've got plenty of resources on my YouTube channel. So check out my YouTube channel. There's a whole meditation playlist. I'll link it in below the live when the live is done, so that you have easy access. But there's a whole load of resources for free for you to work in that. And meditation and breath work and the power of the group is very transformative. If you have a look at some of those videos, those testimonies on my page, just scroll back through. They're also all on YouTube. They're easier to find because everything's categorized on YouTube. So that is very powerful. Doing the shadow work was really important in 23. It's going to continue in 24 if you haven't acknowledged yet that everything is actually happening for you, that your soul has created all of this. So that's what I've been sitting with in this first week of 24, is my soul has chosen all of this, all of it. every part of it to bring me to the place where I am now, where I have the insights and where I can work with people to hold the space for them to choose healing for their body and their mind and their emotions, because they choose it, right? And the body is the most amazing machine. It can heal itself, and that's been kept from us. So that's a whole other subject. Shadow of us and the world is going to get louder, and that's a repeat from the last live. Meditation and breathwork are powerful, powerful tools. And if you can't get to a group, there's heaps on YouTube. I need to load some to my YouTube channel too. So it's just changing your breath, breathing deeper, getting present with yourself, so you can switch from your sympathetic nervous system, which is your flight and fright, into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, or feed and breed. So it brings us more present with ourselves, and it allows the soul to speak to us, and it allows the soul to show us all those areas that aren't healed yet. But it also shifts all the energy in the body. It starts our chakras working properly again, and we can release right there in the group. The power of a group when we're in each other's electromagnetic field cannot be underestimated. And the Maharishi effect has proven this. When a whole load of people got together and meditated, crime went down around the world. You know, rape went down around the world. There was just so many benefits of people being in each other's field and having one joint focus. That's the power of a group. So we need to work on unlocking our shadow. And you know, the shadow has been like, ooh, you know, it's dark, it's evil, it's this. No, it's part of us. It's the polarity of living here, right? We live in a world which has good and bad, dark and light. And when we embrace that shadow, and when we look at that, there are benefits to it as well. It's part of the healing, but it also helps to keep us safe, right? So there are parts of it that we can actually embrace our shadow and go, yes, that's within me too. And the more we accept our shadow, the more we get to that acceptance, the 350 Hertz, which is a very high scale of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, we actually get to that place where we can start to really manifest from the present and create our lives from the present, because we're no longer projecting our shadow onto the world. We're no longer coming from a place of victim, which is a very weak frequency to come from. We're coming from a place of authority. We're coming from a place of complete acceptance of everything that's happened and aligning with the fact that it happened for us, for our soul, for the evolution, for our growth, so that we can then assist others who are coming along that way and making these kind of discoveries, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other. We're here to live in community, and we're here to heal not only ourselves but each other and the planet as well. And that's all possible when we do the work. So thank you everyone for joining in. Hi Naja. The shadow is buried deep inside of us, and others reflect to us our shadow, and we project our shadow onto others. So let me share something personal. So I used to judge people for anger, and then one day it just unlocked in me. It's like, oh my God, I have so much suppressed rage. Oh my goodness, from my childhood, from some abuse that I was holding on to. And when I realized that that had all happened for me, that my soul had chosen that, and that it was okay to feel that rage, and it was just an energy locked in my body, and I allowed that rage to come up and for me to actually acknowledge it and feel it, it actually passed. And now I don't see as many angry people in the world. In fact, I see people full of joy, and I tend to attract that. But when I was locked in my own suppressed rage, and remember, the world reflects to us what we suppress inside. So this is a gift. We can look at this as a gift, which is what I did with the rage and the anger that I was holding on to. You know, I was passive aggressive rather than outright angry. And so it was easy to say, oh, I'm not an angry person. I was a very angry person. When I acknowledged that, when I sat with that, when I allowed myself to actually feel that, oh my goodness, the shift was just phenomenal. It was incredible. And I realized that this anger, righteous anger, is actually really powerful. And if we look at the Bible, Jesus overturned the tables at the money changers, right? That was what we would call righteous anger. And so it can be used, it's an energy that can be used in a way to propel us forward. So as long as we suppress it, we're not acknowledging it and we're not healing. So the world is basically going to reflect to us, and we project our shadow onto others. So we'll often project our anger onto others, but then we attract angry situations, and we attract situations which keep us in that loop and keep us trapped. So when we allow ourselves to feel these feelings, remember, feelings are just energy in motion. And if we allow ourselves to feel it, often it'll just pass. But as children, we're told to suppress it, aren't we? Stop it, you know? Like, come on, misbehaving or whatever. And all we're trying to do is express an emotion, a sadness, a grief, an anger, a loss, something like that. And it's nobody's fault. Everyone's programmed the same way. But we can be the generation that changes that. We can undo our own programming. We can heal through our emotions, through allowing ourselves to acknowledge and feel. Obviously, we don't want to take it out on others. We want to just sit with it, which is why meditation is so powerful. It's a powerful way to sit with you, get present with you, and really start to look at all those places where you've suppressed stuff, where it's not been allowed to be expressed. So the collective unconscious, as Carl Jung says, actually reflects the shadow. So everything we're seeing unfolding in the world, all of the polarity, all of the dynamics, is a reflection of this collective shadow. And it has to come to the surface. It has to be revealed. The darkness has to be revealed. So we can have the opportunity to realize it's also a reflection of the battle that's going on inside us, right? Between the ego and the soul. The soul is in control because the soul has chosen all these lessons for us, but the ego wants to be in control. So it often will go into your patterns and your programs, our patterns and programs, and it will lock us in so that we cannot change, we cannot heal, because the ego doesn't want to die, right? It's a life and death battle, right? So everything we most dislike admitting about ourselves, Carl Jung says, is actually reflected back to us. So the power of sitting with you, the power of meditation, the power of just getting honest, downright dirty and honest with yourself, will set you free. That's been my journey, my path, is that I've just sat with myself and sat with myself and sat with myself for so long. And the more I've sat with myself, the lighter I've got, because nothing sticks now. It's like, oh, I'm feeling this. Oh, let me just sit and let me just feel it. And trust me, sometimes it's super uncomfortable. You know, fear is an uncomfortable thing to feel. Anger is an uncomfortable thing to feel, because none of us is really been allowed to express it. I'm going to put it that way. So the more we sit with us, the more powerful, the more present we get with us, the more power and potency we bring into the present moment to actually create from, because we cannot create unless we acknowledge everything that's going on inside us, because we'll create from the past, from the hurts, the emotions, the trauma. And that's the last thing we want to do in 2024, because it's also the year of instant manifestation. You know, the frequencies coming in, as I talked about, the photon energy, the light, the Schumann resonance, is all going to amplify everything. So in the last live, I talked about we need to be really conscious of our thoughts, our words that we speak, the way we are in the world, because it's going to create instantly for us. So that's why this meditation and getting present with you is going to be such a powerful tool for you in 24. And I would highly recommend checking out the events. If you're local to the Sunshine Coast, checking out my events coming along. We're seeing amazing things happen for the group. So the gift of 24 is to become a student of yourself, to observe, to be honest with yourself. The way to really do that, as I said, is meditation. It's the most powerful tool. I've used it for 30 years. It's really helped me heal my physical body, fibromyalgia, deep depression, which of course is rage turned inward, and fibromyalgia, of course, is the body fighting itself. So, an irritable bowel, which was all the worry and the fear, which, you know, the gut is the second brain. So, the more you get present with you, the more you actually put in the time to just give yourself that time early in the morning. I do it early in the morning before the world kind of wakes up, and I do it last thing at night to get present, to release anything that I might still be holding on to, so that when I enter my new day, I enter it fresh and I enter it with everything acknowledged and everything released. So they're powerful tools. 2024 resources, I would recommend that if you haven't put a lot of time into your education, if you haven't studied quantum physics, your electromagnetic nature, the fact that you are energy, your mind and the way it tricks you, if you haven't studied these sorts of things, if you haven't studied the sorts of things that are freely available now on YouTube, I've got a lot of resources. I did a live, it's called 2024 resources. Now, I like physical books because I feel the words jump out at me, and it doesn't matter how many times I read them, my soul gets a deeper layer of the message each time. I like physical books. I know a lot of people prefer audible books, you know, books they listen to. I like to be really present when I'm reading. And I did have a break from reading because I was so busy working on myself. Now I'm back into the reading. And a few books I'm just going to recommend that you could start with if you're brand new to all this is books, and a lot of psychiatrists have written books like that, like this, Journey of the Souls by Michael Newton, who was a psychiatrist. And you know, back in the day when there were reel-to-reel recorders, he would put people in deep regression hypnosis. He's also written a book called Destiny of the Souls, which is this next one, but can be read separately. To the Journey of the Souls, you don't have to read the Journey of the Souls first. And of course, there's Many Lives, Many Masters, and I forget the author of that one. And of course, Dolores Cannon also has done many books on this. So it's talking about these psychiatrists have basically found, and Michael Newton in particular had people sent to him who had physical pain and the doctors couldn't find any reason for it. And when he started putting people into this deep regression hypnosis, he found that they were telling stories of these different lifetimes and what happened to them and what they were carrying through to this lifetime. So the reason these books are a great place to start is to help you realize that, you know, we carry these lessons, our soul carries these lessons on the electromagnetic imprint, and the access bars that I provide here in Hands-On Healing is very powerful for you to unlock your consciousness. They're literally about accessing more of your own consciousness, which is how I've come to be in the position I'm in, is I've locked so much of my own consciousness that I'm fully present with myself, and I can be fully present and hold that space for others to get present with themselves too. So these books basically go through and show you all the ways in which we learn, our soul learns, and how we repeat the lessons we don't learn. So of course, oldies and goodies. This is where I started back in the 80s with Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And this is just a book called Heal Your Body. And of course, I've got these in clinic for you. Another great book of a similar nature is by our own Inna Segal, The Secret Language of the Body. And these three books basically talk about how the body is signaling you of emotions, trapped emotions, blocked emotions, thought patterns that are keeping you sick or creating disease. So all disease, as a registered nurse, as a psychiatric nurse, I know that all disease starts in the mind and the emotions. The physical body is the last place it shows up. So if you're feeling discomfort or you've got a chronic illness in your body, it's happened over decades. Oh, Tamara, hello. Yes, I love The Secret Language of the Body too. I often reference it myself and use it as a resource for my clients. So the other books I want in that sort of way is The Biology of Beliefs by Dr. Bruce Lipton. Now that's a beautiful book. He is a PhD. He put genes in petri dishes. I talked about this in the last slide. And he studied these genes to change the environment, and the genes responded to the environment. And he has proven that disease, physical disease, is the genes are only 1% of that. It's the environment, it's what we eat, it's whether we have a good emotional support system, it's our thoughts, it's our feelings, what we do on a regular basis, do we move our body, do we meditate, all these sorts of things. It's our environment that causes disease. And then Dr. Joe Dispenza has written some great books. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is fantastic, and you know, they're not very expensive either. So you'd be able to get them on Audible, I'm sure, if you prefer. I like to hold something in my hand and I like to underline and highlight. Becoming Supernatural is a bit advanced, so that's really about being your super self. That's the best way to put it. And Dr. Gabor Mate. So I share sort of stuff from all these guys. He is a physician. He's also a psychiatrist. The myth of normal. So, you know, what's normal? Because we're all so different and so unique, right? We're all fractals of God having this physical experience in these solid, you know, matter-filled avatars. But we're this soul, we're this soul having all these experiences and gathering all this wisdom, and really we're here to learn and grow our soul and to evolve through the scale of consciousness so that, whoops, we don't repeat all these lessons, right? So that we become lighter and we become those light bearers. We become those light workers I talked about in the beginning, who are functioning from the heart, who are absolutely 100% confident in who they are, who are 100% solid with the knowledge that they are here for the transition of this planet, this exciting time that we're living in. But they're also aware that everything is happening for them. So when we become aware, when we step out of that victim thinking, when we step into empowerment and we realize that we have the power to create from the present moment, then we start creating in a different way. We don't entertain worry. We don't entertain fear. We don't entertain guilt. We don't entertain judgment. Instead, we see that everything's an opportunity. It doesn't mean it doesn't come up. We're not like perfect. It doesn't mean it doesn't come up. It's just that we can acknowledge it when it does, because we're present. We're present and we're going, oh, I'm feeling a bit judgmental right now, and that thought I had was very judgmental. And we can go into why. Why am I being that? What is it that I'm seeing that I can't see about me, or the way that I'm like that? And that's a very powerful thing, because that's how we start to heal. We start to heal all those fragments of us that still aren't whole. So what is wholeness? Wholeness is being one with yourself, with your soul, with your purpose, and one with the planet and everything on it. So that includes everyone on it, and realizing that everyone's a gift. And the people that trigger us the most are the biggest gift in our lives. And if we can, you know, sort of read books like this and start to understand that they love us so much that they've come to play those roles that they play for us so that our soul can evolve and learn and grow. So yeah, so I feel like that's the end of the download. It kind of came really fast and really hard today. I had my points kind of all prepared from my notebook. Let me just check my notes. Okay, so I'm going to finish with a quote from Carl Jung. So everything we most dislike admitting about ourselves is the collective unconscious. The average human, he says, Carl Jung says, would much rather project his shadow onto the world and condemn it and see it as evil in the world. In actuality, the problem is merely to acknowledge the presence of such thoughts and impulses in ourselves. By acknowledging them, they become quiet. So that's been my experience with my meditation, getting present with myself. Oh, okay, Kathy, I'm glad. You know, why don't you make 24 your year of study? Why don't you make 24 the year you study you? And you know, these wonderful resources have been provided for us. My page is full of resources from these guys, short videos. So it doesn't take much of your time to just tune in. There's even a breathwork one. I think I'll link it in below when I get the chance. And it gives you a short exercise where you can actually move the energy in your body into your pineal gland, because the pineal gland is full of crystals. Yes, I've digressed, apologies. It's full of crystals, and when we move the energy into the pineal gland actually, these crystals start to oscillate, right? And it connects us to directly to our divine nature. So it's a very powerful tool. So the average human, he says, would much rather project his shadow onto the world and condemn it and see it as evil in the world. In actuality, the problem is merely to acknowledge the presence of such thoughts and impulses in ourselves. By acknowledging them, they become quiet. Once they are quiet, they no longer unconsciously run us. So if you want to get free in 24, if you didn't happen to sort of get these insights in 23, get present with yourself, start to acknowledge everything as a gift, everything as a reflection, and an opportunity to quieten that part of you that hasn't been allowed to be acknowledged. That's all it is. It's been programmed that you must suppress it and you cannot acknowledge it. So the more we acknowledge what's going on inside of us, the more quiet it gets, the more peace you'll find in your life, the easier life gets. And a great affirmation to start the day and finish the day with is, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. What does that do? That sets the expectation that all of life is going to come to you with ease, joy, and glory. Because remember, our thoughts and our words create our reality. We're putting power and potency and energy into the world. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Yes, Kathy, great idea, excellent idea. So if I can encourage you with anything for 24, why not make it your year of studying you and studying all these great people that have these great resources that provide a lot of them for free on YouTube. And most of it I've made a compilation on my channel. So there's tools to retrain your brain. There's many playlists there. Tools to retrain your brain. I really need to add to it. But you can just short circuit everything and go there. And remember, what's true for you makes you lighter. A lie will make you heavy. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday. Who knows what will come then? Thank you so much for joining me, and I love you all and appreciate you all, and thank you for supporting this little page of mine, and I'll see you next week. Oh, thank you, Mariska. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you, Kylie. Bye.